with you.
Okay, I think we are finally live. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Boujie Sports podcast. Sorry that we are late. It took Chris forever to get ready. I have just been sitting here waiting, and finally he has finished his hair. So, are you ready finally to get started?
This is Boujie, right? Now,
Yeah.
what exactly is a Boujie Sports show? Because I've never been on something really bougie. I do a very bougie sports show. So you're gonna have to explain the whole concept to me before I can really jump into this.
Well, I guess like when I say bougie, it just means like more like extra.
Extra, okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
see.
Like over the top,
Flashy,
Doesn't like fancy, flashy. Yeah.
shows
That
off in
type of
public,
thing.
that sort of thing. Okay, I got
Yes,
it. I got it.
yes,
Okay, I
yes.
can hang with that. I think.
Good.
A little different than my normal, we do a show at 9 o'clock on Mondays, and usually that's your pretty basic sports show, right? So I'll kind of ease into this bougie thing though. Sounds like fun.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to make changes show up for you guys, for you a little bit, because I know that you do have your own show, which we'll hit on that a little bit. And that is Mondays, every Monday live at 9 o'clock on BigPlay, right? And that's brought to you by Tipico.
That's right.
How long have you guys been doing that show?
So we've been doing it, it's been probably about 5 years. It started off as a post-game show for the Browns, which was fantastic because then you get very unbougie callers who are very drunk after the games who'd call in and very, very upset most of the time at what happened that Sunday afternoon. And so that was fun. And we decided to keep it going kind of after the season. And since that time, we've kind of developed a format where we get a guest every week and have a couple of other kind of things that we do on the show. But it's a pretty tight half an hour to 45 minutes. I'd say closer to an hour actually that we put together every week, and topical, what's going on in Cleveland sports, and looking out to the following week.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys are not subscribed to that, go ahead and subscribe to that. And that is on YouTube and everywhere, or
yeah, it's on YouTube. Look up BigPlay. You can find BigPlay, not only my show, the BigPlay Reflog show. We've also got the Bernie Kosar show with Hanford Dixon, which is fantastic. He just had on Ozzie Newsome yesterday, kind of breaking some news about the tag for Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
And he's going to have Josh Cribbs on his show here coming up. So,
oh wow,
burgeoning media empire is growing here. It's not bougie though; it's burgeoning. But it's a big difference.
Well, I'm sure it is probably a little bougie, but you didn't even know what bougie was. So
that's true. That's true. To be fair.
And Bernie Kosar from Youngstown, so we love Bernie Kosar.
And he loves Youngstown. He loves the whole area. I'll tell you what, this whole thing that went on in East Palestine with the train derailment, that really struck him. I went out there a couple of weeks ago. There was a town hall, and Bernie called me up, said, "Hey, I want to get down there. I don't know how I can help out, but I'd like to get down there. I used to play ball down there and he pointed out the baseball stadium when we were down there. He's like, I used to play ball there in high school. He's like, these are my people. And I just like to be there for what they're going through. And so he's still obviously very well connected in what's going on in Ohio and Northeast Ohio, and really concerned about what's going on over there. So he's got a great heart. That's what I love about Bern. Not only, I remember back to the 7-year-old me watching him play the Jets and getting late hit by Mark Gastineau. I had that version of Bernie, and now the version now where you get to know the guy a little bit, and he's just the best. I'll tell you what you see is what you get, and he really cares about the fans, and that really meant a lot to me. They say don't meet your heroes, and in this case, it was a very, very good thing for me.
Absolutely. And I think Aaron Brockovich was there too. That was pretty cool.
Aaron Brockovich was there. Yeah. And I met Aaron Brockovich, and it was kind of funny because it's me, it's Bernie Kosar, it's like the mayor and some lawyers and some government officials and in this circle. And they kept looking around, all these other people like, okay, I get Bernie Kosar. Who are you again? What is your role? And I'm there with my backwards hat as I am right now, very unbougie. Not very dressed.
Wait a minute. People didn't recognize you from your profile picture? I mean, you look exactly the same.
I get that a lot,
I know.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. There's some sort of a disconnect there, and I'm not quite sure what it is.
Yeah. I must admit, though, I was today years old when I figured out that your profile handle is golfer backwards.
Yes. And then shocked.
That explains your 500,000 followers. That is amazing.
Every once in a while, I put that out there on Twitter, and I'm always amazed at how many people are like, say the same thing you just said. They had no idea. And that's actually where the handle comes from, the handle and then the AV as well, because that's Cigar Guy. And I don't know if you know any history of Cigar Guy there, but there's a famous picture back from the Ryder Cup about 10 years ago. And it's a great shot. And anybody who's out there, if you Google Tiger Woods Cigar Guy, you're going to pull this up. And it's a shot of Tiger Woods hitting the ball directly at the camera. And you see the ball right there in the camera. You see Tiger right behind. You see kind of off to the left his caddy, Steve Williams. And then you go around the entire audience or the gallery there. And you get kind of to the right. And you see this guy just dressed up as Cigar Guy, right? With the hat on, with the mustache, with the cigar. And you're like, wow, now you look at it, it looks like it's almost photoshopped into it, but it's just a magical picture. And it turns out that this guy dressed up as Miguel Jimenez, which was his favorite golfer. And that's the reason that he was dressed up like that. He was just an average Joe, decided to dress up, kind of cosplay his favorite player and to support his team. And that's what he did. And I thought that was pretty cool. And so when I got on Twitter, I immediately made it my AV. And within a couple of months of being on Twitter, somebody sent me a tweet along the lines of, I don't know if this guy's actually funny or if it's because of his AV. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I've got the perfect AV. It's a cover for me here. So that's what I'm going to go with. So there's the history of the Cigar Guy.
Yeah. So are you any good at golf?
I am. Thank you for asking. Boy, you're asking all the tough questions that really play into. You're kind of grooving some balls down the middle of the plate, and I appreciate that. So back in the day, I played for Granville High School. In 1996, I was a member of the Granville High School golf team that won state in Ohio. So I'm very proud. I was captain of that team. The year before, we had finished second in the state. That year, we won it all. I got to meet Jack Nicklaus, got all the accolades that came out of that. Didn't end up playing in college. And to this day, I don't play very much because I got 3 kids, but it's always one of those proud accomplishments I don't get a chance to talk about very often. So Yvette, I really appreciate that opportunity.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a golfer.
And I think I've seen some things that you golf. Now what kind of a player?
I haven't started yet, but.
Okay. Maybe I have.
Yeah, no, I started watching Full Swing, and then after I watched it, I decided I was going to become a golfer. So,
isn't that fantastic? Full Swing. I've been watching those. I'm about 3 episodes in, and that's one of the problems the PGA Tour I think realized that they had, with the Live Tour coming in and maybe new ways to market themselves. Is I never thought they did a great job of marketing the players. Because all you see are these guys who are just kind of your typical golfer who have, the perfect pants, the perfect whatever, all their sponsors have them all dressed up for these rounds, and you don't get to see their personality. And this really breaks through. You get to see kind of behind the scenes with each of them. And I thought that was fantastic. And I'm a big golf fan, and I learned an awful lot just watching these first few episodes. So cheers to Netflix on that. And I think it was a good move by the PGA Tour too, to incorporate this.
Absolutely. I think anytime you can interplay emotion with anything, just think of Building the Browns. Like every time I watch the episode I'm sold on after any episode of Building the Browns, whoever they spotlight, I'm like, I love you. You're the best player ever. I'll buy your jersey. I love you. It's just, it's like Real Housewives. I'm like the Bravo, which I love, meets sports. That's Boujie Sports. That's Boujie Sports right there.
Makes sense.
There you have it. Okay. And speaking of Boujie Sports, I thought it would be fun to play some games with you, just like something a little bit different. But before, I wanted to hit on a little bit of, there's a couple of things going on in the news, but I don't want to waste too much time with it. I hate where I'm at right now on the screen because honestly, it was me who had to move, and that's what takes forever. And I feel I'm so short. That's why I keep fidgeting. Sorry.
See, now she's telling the truth. You're telling the actual truth behind the curtain of what happened prior to us going on the air here. It had nothing to do with me. I was absolutely perfect, by the way.
I'm sure everyone really thought you were doing your hair that long.
Well, you see the result here. You can't argue.
You railroaded everyone.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, what were we just talking about?
Well, you were about to introduce a game, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. No, I wanted to talk about my "you had me at hello" moment.
Okay.
So I obviously am a fan of you on Twitter because I am the world's biggest Browns fan. And of course, most of us probably follow you and most of us know you make fun of the Browns, which, no offense, it's not that hard, is it?
No, it's really low food.
So, but what really, really struck me is one time you posted, there's no alcohol in this, by
the way. Boujie.
One time you posted something about Mallrats.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
About it being an Easter movie, which I completely forgot that it was an Easter movie, first of all.
And the cool part about that was, did you see one of the responses I got was from Kevin Smith on that?
No, shut your mouth. Are you serious?
It was. Yeah, that's why I remember that one so well. Yeah. Yeah, he responded and he said, confirmed it is an Easter movie. And I was like, this is cool. This is like peak Reflog right now. It had nothing to do with the Browns, nothing to do with the Cavs, nothing to do with the Guardians, nothing to do with sports at all. It was just a Mallrats tweet. And I still remember that one because of that. Kevin Smith responded. And I thought, this is so cool.
I responded on that too, by the way.
And you were secondary, of course.
Yeah.
You were right up there.
That's probably why Kevin Smith responded.
That's right. He saw that.
Come on. I brought the traction there. It's Mallrats.
You did. Obviously, bring the traffic in there. Kevin Smith has to follow.
No, but seriously, that to me it's like one of those movies where it's like either you know it or you don't, but I absolutely love that movie. I love all Kevin Smith movies, but that is one of my favorite movies. And in that movie,
how about Dogma? Do you like Dogma? Because that's the interesting part about Dogma. I really like Dogma. Is the fact that the rights to that movie, like Kevin Smith doesn't have the rights to that movie for some reason. That's why you can't find it anywhere. Like you don't find it on any streaming services. You can't find it on Hulu, Netflix, any of those, because he doesn't have the rights to his own movie. And I forget the whole backstory on it, but it really is interesting to me. And it kind of burns me because it's one of those great movies, on a Sunday afternoon I'd love to throw on, but you can't do it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Release Dogma.
That's right. Release Dogma.
Now I'm going to go find it.
I think it had something to do, now as I think about it, with Harvey Weinstein. I think Harvey Weinstein may have some of the rights to that, and that's the reason it's not out there. So one of the many, many bad things that man has done has cost us now Dogma. Alanis Morissette is God. It had so many period piece items to it in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm a kid of the 90s. I love the 90s, and just that movie encapsulated so much. Chris Rock was in it.
Did you see his Netflix special? I haven't seen it yet.
I did see it. I watched it over the weekend. I thought it was good. It's funny.
I think it's hilarious. I always thought he was hilarious anyway. So.
Oh yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle, they're legends to me. And it's always funny to me how much crap they get on social media immediately following these comedy shows. No matter what they do, and they'll get it from the right and they'll get it from the left. I'm not going to get political here, but that's just the cesspool that we're in on Twitter. And it's like, these guys are going out there and they're doing what they do. They're putting in their comedy routine, their art out there. And I guess you're always going to have opinions on that stuff, but it's just amazing at how passionate these people get, where it's like, you don't have to buy Netflix, number one. Number two, you don't have to click on it. You don't have to watch it if you don't like it. And that's always interesting to me whenever these things come out. But I thought he did a nice job. He really, really went after Will Smith. And I thought,
I can't wait.
Yeah, the way he did it was pretty good.
Well, come on, that's the meme that keeps on giving.
Oh,
yeah. But still, that was actually, I can't wait to see. I think especially for comedians in this culture with cancel culture now, it's hard to even be funny. Especially me too. I'm a child of the 90s. The movies back then, they were never even made it, some of them. And I think it's hard now for them to put yourself out there. Like, he's even on the smallest level. Like, for me, about East Palestine, I got like, everyone's making it about politics, and you're like, you just try to do something good. But hey, that's the internet, right?
Well, that's an interesting thing too, because it's like you can't get the truth on what's going on, right? For something like East Palestine, you've got one side saying one thing, one side saying the other, and you got the poor people that are just like stuck in the middle. Like
Right.
when I went down there, it's like I listened to Aaron Brockovich speak, I listened to a bunch of lawyers speak, and I was just sitting there going, I have this fear that these lawyers from Texas and this whole crew is going to come in there, take all the money out because they're going to sue the railroad. And what are the people going to be left with? Their housing values have gone down to approaching zero right now. No one's going to want to move there, and they're going to be left with this for years and years. And I just hope that right is done by them before everybody leaves town. Cause it had to feel like carpetbagging when I was down there, but you're getting me off track a little bit. I just wanted to say that piece because I feel for those folks down there. I feel for the folks that have to go through this. And it's unfortunate that you've got some opportunists, I think, that are in the mix right now.
Oh yeah. Knocking on doors. I mean, it's, and offering people money for, it's sad.
And once again, you don't know the truth. You don't know what's really going on, right? You don't know
exactly.
And we may not know it for years, and we may not know it and who do you trust for that truth? The railroad company? No. The people? Well, yeah, I would think so. The government? I don't think so. And you got to kind of sift through all that stuff to figure out what's really going on. And we may not realize exactly the extent of it for years. And that's unfortunate. But sorry to bring the show down here.
That's okay. We'll turn it back up on a notch. But that's great. We need people like you, Bernie, Aaron Brockovich, everybody like that, just at least go out and show our faces and know that we are here to support the people, and we don't have an agenda. We just want to see out there and help anyone. So that's
and
great.
For me, I wasn't really helping the people, other than I was kind of Bernie's Uber.
You were helping people by going there, and you retweeted my post, so that's helping the people. That's helping the people by getting the word out there. So don't take that away. So let's go ahead and turn this. Since we got all sad about East Palestine, but that is important. Yeah. So, anyways, we're gonna go back to Mallrats. Do you remember in Mallrats that the truth or date?
Oh gosh. I don't. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but you can refresh my memory. I'm sure it'll come back.
Okay. So remember the game show that Brandy or whatever, that her dad was at the end, was the truth or date game show.
Okay. All right.
The one that Jay and Silent Bob were going to try to destroy.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Neither way, because the games really that I have really has nothing to do with it anyways. It's just lately based on it. So anyhow, there was, remember suitor number 1, suitor number 2, suitor number 3?
I do now. Yeah.
Because now I made a couple of suitors. Okay.
Okay.
And we are going to just have a little bit of fun. Just like I said, it's off season, and
it is.
Yes. So you pretty much have made your career on the fact that the Browns are terrible. So, I mean, would you really be who you were if you lived in Kansas City with a golfer backwards handle?
Oh God, to dream, right? To dream. I'd have a little following and a team that's really good.
But what would you? Yeah, what's better? What would you rather have? A little following?
That's right.
Better than being a Browns fan.
That thing, yeah. I mean, the Browns have given me a lot of material. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, boy, I'd love to see some championships.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't be doing this awesome podcast right now, because nobody really would care about backwards golfer from Kansas City with their Super Bowl winning team.
That's very true.
You're not making sense. So, anyways, there are a couple, I think, big reasons that we are in the positions that we are today. So those are based on the suitors that I picked. So suitor number 1 is Craigie Lowe.
Oh, very nice. I like the shirt. It's a fabulous.
You're welcome. I'm glad. I saved it for this show, especially for this show.
Because I met Craigie Lowe once in my life. I met him back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in Bath back in the day. And we were there at the theater in Fairlawn, and I forget what the theater's name was, but he must have lived fairly close to that area because he was at the movie and he was up there buying popcorn. And I didn't talk to him because I was so small and so nervous about walking up to him. But I was amazed at for a guard just how tall he was and what a presence he had. Because you look at him on the court and he's just this little guy compared to all the other players out there. So, but from what I could tell, couldn't have been nicer. Seemed like a really nice guy, and of course he's a Cavs legend. But there's my story with Craig Elo.
I'm pretty sure that he is 6'6", the same exact height as Michael Jordan.
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. But as a little kid, I could see where that would. You know what? When I was a little kid, I
wish he was like 6'7", because probably we may have had a championship. But that's another story once again for another day.
Yeah. But then, hey, you wouldn't be where you're at. Like I said, that's right.
There you go.
So, suitor number 1. Let's go back to that day, May 7th, 1989. That was the playoff game between the Cavs and the Chicago Bulls. And my God, final 3 seconds. We don't have to rehash it, right? We know what happened.
That's right.
So in that I think is one of the moments I have a game for that. So I might look at all my notes. This is how my brain works. When I think about something, then I'll just write it down. All right. So on this. Okay. So did you, of course, you've seen The Last Dance, the documentary?
Yes.
Okay.
Also another period type of piece too, because it highlighted the 90s as well as the Bulls. But yes, that was
it was so good.
It was.
I love documentaries.
Music and everything
even get
else.
me started on my I love documentaries. And a sports documentary, it's even the best. But Craig Elo talked about that, shot, and I've seen him in interviews talk about it before. And he says, yeah, it sucked, but he's kind of happy with it now because it made him infamous. Like, look at now we're still talking about it, and I could see that. On the other hand, on the Last Dance, Scottie Pippen is not happy about the way things went down, and actually not happy with Michael Jordan right now. So my questions are, I have a couple questions, and you can only choose from Craig Elo, Michael Jordan, or Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
Here is a random Boujie Sports fact too. This is how I knew all this gossip. I watched The Real House of Miami, which has Larsa Pippen. So Larsa Pippen dates, do you know, Michael Jordan's son? Quite the scandal.
Okay. Yep, and I think I knew that somewhere back in the back of my files in my head. I knew that, but yes, I forgot. Okay.
Well, anyway, so that just got me to just thinking about everything. So that's kind of crazy. So if out of all those 3, who would you want to go to Vegas with the most? Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, or Craig Elo?
Oh, man. That's tough. We're
just at the first question, Chris. Come on. It gets a lot harder than this.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm dogging Craig Elo if I say Michael Jordan.
No, you can't. You have to just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I go with Jordan. Yeah, I mean, you got to pick.
He'd gamble a lot. He'd definitely gamble a lot.
Yeah, he'd gamble a lot. He'd probably throw chips around. I mean, you'd have a lot of fun out there with Michael Jordan. See, Craig Elo would probably I don't know, you'd play a couple of hands, then you'd have a nice early dinner, probably turn in, get up early, get a workout in, that'd be great. And that's probably the right answer. Yeah. But I think Michael Jordan would probably be more fun.
There's no right answer. It's your answer.
It feels wrong, but I'm going to go with Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan's going to Vegas. Let's go. Please sign me up for that trip. I want to go. So who would you most like to, I kind of think I know this answer, but I don't know, play a game of horse with?
Oh, out of those 3, playing a game of horse. Once again, I'm going to have to go with Michael Jordan, because if I beat Michael Jordan, then I'll always, for the rest of my life, I would change my Twitter profile tomorrow to I beat Michael Jordan in horse.
Of course.
In fact, I'd change it to I beat Michael Jordan at basketball, and that would be on my tombstone someday. So yeah, I'd have to go with Jordan on that one.
Jordan.
I'll go for 2. I feel like I'm dogging my guy Craig Elo here, but you're kind of setting me up.
Okay, well, how about this one? Who would you trust the most with the secret?
Oh, Craig Elo. Come on.
There you go. I gave you one. There you go.
Come on, he's a choir boy. I mean, he's not quite Mark Price, but he's right up there in terms of choir boyness.
So you would take Mark Price over Craig Elo?
And
one they like better.
Oh, who I like better?
Yeah, one or the other.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark Price has been on my show, so I'm going to have to go with Mark Price on that one.
Okay, Mark Price it is. I mean, there's really not a wrong answer, is there? On those
Plus, when I was growing up, Mark Price was my guy. I mean, that was the guy. That was my favorite player for a long, long time. Was definitely Mark Price.
Yeah. Well, mine was because I liked blondes.
Craig Elo. Ah, okay.
I had the biggest crush on him until this incident.
Yeah.
So
you'd pick Craig Elo for each of these. I'm assuming that.
No, because I'm not like you. I tell the truth. I don't worry about people's feelings.
You're saying I'm not telling the truth.
Well, you said you're scared to say. Some of them are like, "Oh, I feel like I'm dogging him," so I don't know if you're telling the truth. I don't know, but I think you are because those are the right three answers. I think that's what I have it.
There you go.
So, out of those three, who do you think has the biggest freak number?
Okay, you're gonna have to give me some background on what's the
freak number is like who do you think got laid the most?
Oh, out of those three, well, it's got to be Jordan. I mean, the stories of him like on the side of the wall outside of a hotel trying to get out of his hotel room because there was women in there. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. That's got to be Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan all the way. And what about going golfing with? I think Michael Jordan would be a good golfer.
Oh, yeah, Jordan on the golf course. Gonna have to go Michael Jordan again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So now in the celebration of the Michael Jordan Scottie Pippen relationship, I'm going to give you two names, and you are going to pick who is your favorite out of these two.
Okay.
So we kind of already did one. Okay. Wayne or Garth?
Oh, Garth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Letterman, Garth, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Garth's a nut. Wayne was kind of the straight guy in that relationship. Garth was the crazy one. Yeah, go with Garth.
Garth is,
the wild card.
Who's Anthony? My drummer. Okay. Letterman or Leno?
I always like Letterman.
Yeah.
And I hear behind the scenes that he was like the more depressed of the two, and it wasn't as much fun behind the scenes, which always upset me because I always seemed like he was the cool guy to hang with. So, but I'll stick with Letterman.
Yeah. What about Jay or Silent Bob?
Ooh, Silent Bob. You just never know what he's going to do at the end of the night. He'll just do nothing for most of the time, right? And give you just one-word answers if you even get an answer out of him. Yeah. But when he finally does something, you know it's going to be spectacular.
And he did respond on the tweet that I responded on yours, probably because I responded on.
And that's right. Played by the Kevin Smith.
Which I need to go back now. I wonder, I wish there was a way. Is there a way you can go back and easily check for stuff like that?
Oh, I wish.
Somebody find it.
And now in Elon's world, forget about it. There's no easy way to do anything anymore.
All right. What about Manning brothers, Eli or Peyton? Which one are you going for?
I hate saying Peyton.
Stop worrying about people's feelings. Nobody cares about your feelings. This is sports. There's no crying in baseball.
No. But here's the reason. I mean, Peyton's kind of the golden boy, but Eli really, his stock has consistently gone up, in my opinion, not only on the field, but off the field. He's kind of the underrated of them. And, but I'll still go with Peyton. I'll stick with Peyton. And I'll just overlook the fact, like the rest of the world does, that Peyton Manning's wife got steroids sent to her house, allegedly, at one point. I don't know if you remember stories like that came out. Yeah, there's a story like that came out in the media that nobody seems to talk about, but hey.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, you are totally right. Eli is so funny on Monday nights. I would definitely say Peyton because I just think Eli is such a nerd. I don't know, just never a big, huge fan of Eli. I'm just more of a Peyton Manning. But he does put some one-liners on there sometimes. I'm like, go, Eli.
Remember that goofy photo of him when his apartment complex flooded?
Did he have a turtleneck on or something?
No, he was taking a video of it. He was taking pictures or a video with his phone, and somebody took a picture of him. And it was just for a hot second there, it was the meme. But it was just so 40-year-old dad surveying damage. And that's what he looked like. And it was just so funny. And it's pure Eli. Of course, the Eli faces, those are always fun on Twitter. So he gave you a whole lot more on Twitter and on social media than Peyton ever did.
True. And he also took away a Super Bowl from Tom Brady. So there's that.
It's true.
But I am a fan of Tom Brady too. So what about this one? Prince Harry or Prince William? Which is the better brother, Tate? You.
See, we won a war, so we don't have to care about them. I don't.
You're on the Boujie Sports podcast. You agreed to be on it, so you're here.
Oh man.
So let's get.
I don't know who's the one with Meghan Markle.
That's Harry.
That's Harry.
Yeah.
Did
you see the South Park episode with them?
I did.
Oh my God, it's so hilarious.
I did. They cut him up pretty good.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And by the way, so does Chris Rock in his stand-up.
Oh, he does. Okay, I'm gonna need to watch that later.
He does a similar thing. I don't know. I'll go with the one that's with Meghan. I guess he's all right. I don't know the other one.
Fine. So you're going Prince Harry.
Okay,
what about Charles Barkley or Shaquille O'Neal?
Shaq or Sir Charles? Now, Sir Charles, of course, famously threw a person through a plate glass window when he was in Cleveland.
I've read that in Vince's book.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
another good drop there. And if you read all the way to the back of that book, you'll see the first person he thanks is one person.
I did, which I am shocked because I cannot see that. Like him, he just seems so straight, convincing you to do the parade. It just seems like you would be the one. I don't know. I'm shocked, but that's good.
Yeah, he was the guy behind the guy on the parade, and I was the guy behind the guy on the book. It was pretty wild.
Wow. The guy behind the guy, standing behind the guy.
I'm gonna go with Sir Charles though, despite his past. I think he's way more interesting than Shaq is. I mean, I appreciate Shaq, but Sir Charles, he I hate the expression tells it as it is, but he's a free talker, and I always appreciate free talkers.
Me too. There is a funny, I'm just like starting on the reels, and I see such a funny reel with Barkley and Shaq. But anyways, woohoo, scroll. Okay, let's keep going. South Park or The Simpsons?
Another tough one. I'm going to go with The Simpsons. I'm going to go with vintage Simpsons because vintage Simpsons, and you'll see it in my tweets, they form the foundation of my whole comedy routine, or whatever you want to call what I do, is all formulated on The Simpsons. I was raised by The Simpsons as a kid. Now, that for anybody who's listening, who's a young blood out there and you watch The Simpsons now, I do not condone anything that goes on at that show now since about 1999 or so. After that, it got pretty bad. But the mid-90s Simpsons, there was a run there that was just fantastic, and it was much must-see TV for me. Now, South Park's great and totally different in the way that it can kind of cut up on pop culture in a way that The Simpsons could never do as quickly. So it's definitely got its place in my heart, but The Simpsons is always going to be the bedrock.
Yeah. There's some really great iconic episodes of each of those sitcoms. So it would be hard for me I would probably have to go with The Simpsons too, probably for the same reason. They're just, South Park I just watch like for here and there, you know? Not that I've watched The Simpsons anyways in a long time, but.
Well, we're coming up to baseball season. Homer at Bat is just one of those fantastic episodes. And for anybody out there who's listening to this, who is saying, well, The Simpsons are lame these days, I agree with you. Go look that one up. Go watch that one. It's actually pretty funny because just like a lot of The Simpsons, it predicts the future in some ways, because they talk about Mark McGuire and just some things that may be off with him. And, you know, there's a famous line at the end. Hey, do you want me to share MLB's dark secrets, or do you want to see me hit dingers? And that's the way that the entire episode ends. And now it's like, whoa, what did they know on that show? But Darryl Strawberry's in it. Wade Boggs is in it. Ken Griffey Jr. is in it. Roger Clemens is in it. Mr. Burns is playing a character just like George Steinbrenner in it. I mean, it is a fantastic episode. It's a cut up of the natural. So Homer at Bat, that's what you got to see.
And Mr. Burns is a great character, and Sideshow Bob still gives me the freaks. And I think Pat Mahomes looks like Sideshow Bob. There's something about them that remind me of each other, but I don't know.
See that. Who looks more like him, Pat Mahomes or Andy Varejao?
Ooh.
It's pretty close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at Pat, because Andy Varejao, he's just so nice. He's nice. Like Pat Mahomes, not that he's not nice. He just gives me that evil look. Like, how about like in the Super Bowl, he came back like sideshow Bob in the third and fourth quarter,
Right.
So I don't know. I'd have to go with him. How about, here we go, Saved by the Bell or Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Oh, wow. These are good questions. These are kind of in my wheelhouse. I
And
didn't watch.
Boujie, see, you're a Boujie Sports kind of guy. You never thought.
I appreciate these questions. These are different kind of questions that I normally get, so this is great. I didn't watch Buffy. I'm well aware of Buffy.
Yes.
I know where it exists in the lexicon, so I know its place, but I never watched it. Whereas Saved by the Bell, I would run home and I would watch that. So Saved by the Bell, hands down on that one. And by the way, worst show ever. If you go and watch it now and you expect to recapture that magic that you had like as a 10-year-old watching or 11-year-old. I mean, the acting is horrible. The plots are horrible. I mean, the whole show is just god awful.
I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
But I already do this. When I start to show my kids like things that I enjoyed back as a kid, they're like, "What is this?" So I would never ever even subject them to Saved by the Bell for the ridicule I would get. But back in the day, it was magical.
Yeah, the kids. I wouldn't put my daughter through that either. No. Although Kelly Kapowski was so cool. Who did not like Kelly Kapowski? Tell me you did not like Kelly Kapowski.
Oh, huge crush on Kelly. And then I wanted to be Zach. Everybody wanted to be Zach.
Come on. Isn't it still on? Or like something free, like a couple years ago, I swear it was just on Hulu or something. I tried watching it. It was absolutely horrible. They're older, obviously. It was not the same. All right, let's move on to this one. We both have kids, and I thought this one, and we'll go back to Disney, but Toy Story or Monsters, Inc.?
Ooh. Toy Story is a little bit more emotional, I would say.
I love that you're really taking like.
Yeah, you got some good lines in Monsters Inc. I guess I'm going to go Toy Story.
Toy Story. I mean, come on. You can't say that's an overrated Disney movie there.
And I went down to Disney, and I don't know if you've been to Disney yet or been to Disney in years.
I worked at Disney for years.
Oh, you did? So
yeah.
Have you been there since they've got the whole Toy Story land and everything?
Yeah.
They've got it like right next to the edge of the universe or edge of the galaxy or whatever. Galaxy's Edge. That's right, for Star Wars. And then you've got kind of the Toy Story land. So
and
that's
MGM Studios or
it wasn't. It's I guess it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Yeah, because we went to all the parks. So one of the days we went to that park.
Yeah.
And so that's still etched in my mind. And I don't remember a Monsters Inc. kind of area. So that makes me say, I'll go with Toy Story.
Toy Story. All right. What about Goonies or The Sandlot?
So Goonies is another one that doesn't quite stand up as much. Sandlot is one of those that I will watch, and I will force my kids to watch The Sandlot out every July 4th. There's that scene in there where they talk about playing the only night baseball of the summer is the one that they play under the lights as the fireworks are going up over the 4th. And I just think that idea is just so cool. And, just kind of a Norman Rockwell piece of history for Americana, maybe a longing for the past a little bit. My kids hated it. My kids absolutely hate it. They hate it every time I make them watch it. But, I love it. And, of course, there's some great lines in there. And at the end, I'll still tear up when he steals home. I mean, that's just fantastic. It kind of wraps it in. So, I'm going to go with The Sandlot.
Awesome. It's such a great feeling, though, when you do have your kids watch something that you like. And or like I had my daughter watch Grease. I loved Grease when Grease. Imagine that. And my daughter was watching it the other day, and it was just like, And my mom made me watch it. That's how old that is. It's so nice to see. Okay. Michael Phelps or Ryan Lochte?
I'm going to go Michael Phelps. That's a lot of gold right there.
Yeah, that is.
A lot of gold.
Okay. Jordan or LeBron?
Well, for what?
I know this is
Jordan's cost me nothing. Jordan's cost me nothing but heartache. I'm going to take LeBron all day long. 2016, he brought us a chip. So, I'm going LeBron.
LeBron it is. Are you iced coffee or hot coffee
None.
person?
I used to be
You
a big
don't drink
coffee
coffee at all?
No, I'm a Diet Mountain Dew person. I will drink Diet Mountain Dew from sun up to sundown. I love Diet Mountain Dew, and it is probably like rotting my insides. But I used to be a big coffee drinker back in
Yeah.
the day, and
How'd you get off the sauce?
I just kind of transitioned. Well, it's not really off the sauce, to be fair, right?
Well, I mean, Diet Mountain
Diet
Dew
Mountain Dew,
and
right? It's
it's
the
just
same.
it's not. I don't get it. From coffee to that. No,
I know.
in the morning, like when you first wake up, are you like
Diet Mountain Dew?
in the or in a?
Not a big fan of the hot liquids in my mouth. I'll go with the Diet Mountain.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I should say The Office. Did you watch The Office? Did you like The Office?
Sure, I love The Office.
I love the freaking Office.
Yeah, I like the earlier Offices. It got a little weird toward the end. Once Michael was gone, it wasn't nearly as good. But yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. Just like when after Rick left Walking Dead, I never watched it again. What about oh my gosh, Who's the Boss or Family Ties?
Ooh, that's a good one. Go Family Ties. That's a.
Ties.
I mean, come on, Michael J. Fox, family from Columbus, Ohio. I mean,
were they from Columbus?
They were from Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, rewatch the beginning. Rewatch the beginning and look at the sweatshirt that Alex has got on in the intro. And it's an Ohio sweatshirt. It actually looks like a homage sweatshirt.
Really?
Yeah, it
Did
does.
not
Obviously,
know
homage
that.
did not exist back then, but
yeah,
I think that's kind of the way that they modeled some of their stuff off of. But yeah, he's definitely wearing an Ohio sweatshirt at the beginning.
Okay, so who was a better Joker, Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger?
I'll go Heath Ledger, although Jack Nicholson, he broke some serious ground with what he did back in the day.
That's another one that like you can't really argue with each one. Jack Nicholson, though, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Classic.
I mean, come on.
Tim Burton. I mean, just the darkness. They did it in a different way. It's almost like a different flavor. So it's very hard to compare, but they were both fantastic. Yeah,
Kim Basinger, Vicky Vale.
Yeah. Vicky
Who
Vale.
Who did that song? I want to rock that body. Oh yeah. Remember? Oh, that's just when the Joker came in and he was like dancing with his boombox and he goes into the museum and he sprays everything. That was freaking amazing. That was a great part of cinema right there.
Yeah.
Shooter number 1. You survived. That was Craig Ehler, the shot. Great job. Well, what did you think? Are you ready for shooter number 2? Oh, snap.
Let's go.
Okay, so shooter number 2. Shooter number 2. Let's go back to, I think it's 1997. Do you know where we're at? If I just tell you, like, one of the worst moments in Cleveland sports. First name Tony.
First name.
Second name Fernandez.
Ah, yes.
Third name Grounder.
Yes.
Missed.
Yes, and I'll tell you, sitting in my college dorm room watching, that was rough times, as we're all used to, unfortunately, in Cleveland sports.
We are, aren't we? So that's going to bring me to with Tony. Rest in peace. He's not here anymore. Did you know he died of cancer, Tony Fernandez?
I think that's one of those that was in the back of my archives, but yeah.
Yeah. So, which is kind of funny, like in the Cavs game, the same thing, it was the second year in a row with the Bulls and Tony Fernandez. We were going back, like in the first game, he had the 2 runs, right, in game 7. And then what I'm trying to say is he did good, kind of like the drive and the fumble. He did good for us, and then he effed up for us in the last game by the grounder. Poor Tony Fernandez.
Like Ernest Biner. Ernest Biner was the reason we were in that game up until he fumbled.
But it's tough. It's tough. So this game is called Tony. So This is a couple of things. I give you a couple of Tonys. You're going to tell me who's your favorite Tony out of these Tonys. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tony Soprano or Tony Montana?
Tony Montana.
All right. Ooh, that was quick.
badass. I'm a huge Al Pacino.
Oh, I love
Huge Al Pacino
Son of a
fan. I've
Woman.
seen all his movies. Yes, Son of a
Yes.
Woman was good. Devil's Advocate was a movie that I really enjoyed.
I like fell in love with Charlize Theron after. I thought I was going to go lesbian after that movie.
She was great in that, and so was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, yes, he was. Oh, big ups to Keanu. He can act in some movies.
I remember that painting, the painting behind the desk there in the office that moves, and I mean, I thought that was a really underrated movie, to be honest with you. But yeah, huge Pacino fan, Tony Montana.
So Tony Montana it is. What about Tony Romo or Tony Parker?
Oh gosh, I don't have to
hate my
listen.
set. Do I don't have. Am I okay in my box, Chris?
Yeah, you're okay.
Like you're gonna say no. It's too late now.
I don't have to listen to Tony Parker every week during the NFL season, so Tony Parker.
All right. What about Tony Danza or Tony Bennett?
Tony Danza. Always reminds me of Elton John. And Elton John
exactly.
Danza every single time, right?
Yes, absolutely. Tony Hawk or Tony Gonzalez?
Tony Hawk is like the best on Twitter. His whole thing of like people coming up to him saying he looks like Tony Hawk. I love that whole thing. I eat that up. So go with Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. What about Tony the Tiger or Tony Stark? That's from Iron Man. Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll go with Tony Stark. Yeah, that's a fantastic character.
I've never seen any of those.
Spoiler alert, he dies. I just ruined
in the last one.
Okay. Yeah. Just ruined the whole thing for you.
That's okay. I don't think I would ever watch. I mean, not that I'm not a fan. I used to love them. Like I watched
Marvel, not Boujie, huh? Marvel doesn't qualify?
No. I used to watch them. I loved, I loved Batman. I'm kind of like an older soul. I kind of like the older ones. Like once it got to, CG, they lost me,
Gotcha. Sure.
But, all right. So Tony Gonzalez, God, wrong Tony. What freaking Tony are we talking about? Tony Fernandez. Who fumbled? Not fumbled, grounded. Tony Fernandez, right?
Tony Fernandez.
Okay, set. So Tony Fernandez, our suitor number 2, the ball that he fumbled, do you think that would be in a Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame?
Hall of Shame.
Because your next test or next game is called Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. I am going to give you a list of items, and you are going to tell me whether or not you would put these items in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame.
Okay.
Let's go. The Muni lot. Is the Muni lot in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame to Chris McNeil?
Oh, that's the Hall of Fame. Come on.
Of course it's the Hall of Shame. Oh my, am I in it?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
we're just
all my
start
rowdy
it now.
friends.
We'll start
all my
right
rowdy
now.
Friends.
Yeah, we'll start it. What about Dan Gilbert's letter about LeBron James? Is that in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame?
I would have to say ultimately the Hall of Shame. Although at the time, boy, I really felt for that. I mean, the man had the foresight to write that thing in Comic Sans, which is just legendary. Why he wrote it in Comic Sans, I still don't know. An owner would ever do that. And I just think that's fantastic. There's just so much to that. And he was really telling LeBron the way the city felt, I think, that the hardcore Cavs fans felt. But no, ultimately, I don't think that really helps anybody. Got to be more mature. A more mature Reflog would say you're not supposed to do things like that. But I do respect the Comic Sans.
I'm a big fan of Comic Sans, and I'm a big fan of writing letters. So I'm going to put that in the Hall of Fame for nice. Dan Gilbert. What about the stolen bases that were stolen from the 10-cent draft night at the Cleveland Indians game? Are those in the Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame? And will you help me find them?
That's a Hall of Fame. Everything about 10-cent beer night.
I'm obsessed.
Yes, that's a fabulous moment. People have got to embrace moments like 10-cent beer night. They don't come around too often, and I think that's a proud moment for me, even though I wasn't there.
But if you were there, would you have been there?
I would have been all in it, in the moment.
Would you have been the streaker?
Not a cell phone in sight.
But you've been flashed. Not a cell phone in sight. No, I know.
Cell phone sight, just vibing.
It's amazing. I read that's another story I read in Vince's book, Get It, Weird Moments in Cleveland Sports. You can find it at Barnes & Noble. Youngstown guy in the house. Anyhow, read that about it. Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed with it. Kept digging, thinking like how fun that would have been. And you know what's so funny? They showed like in one of the things I was watching, like a mound of like, you know, draft cups, like red Solo cups. And I swear to God, I have a picture that looks exactly like that in the Muni lot. And I wanted to put them side to side and say, nothing's really changed, you know? I don't know. We could just talk about that forever because I think that's amazing. I love that. I wish I could have been there. Actually, at the hospital that I work at, one of the doctors was at that game and he told me about it. And it just sounded so fun. So anyways, okay, really quick because I'm sorry, we're going on fast, I know. But we need to find those stolen bases. Like, how amazing. Somebody actually stole those bases. Where are they? That could be a whole movie, like, or a book. Wouldn't you like to know what happened to those stolen bases or everything from that? That would be so awesome. So if you have the stolen bases, please contact me or Chris McNeil on Twitter. We want this. All right.
I smell a Tom Hanks movie right there.
I'm telling you, stolen bases. Okay, so what about Mason Rudolph's ripped off helmet by Myles Garrett? Is that in the Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame?
I'm going to say Hall of Fame. Why not?
Oh,
come on. I have no problem with it. If he allegedly said what was reported and what Myles Garrett said, then go at it. You know, I have no problem with him doing it. But, you know, who cares? At the end of the day, there are a lot of people who are there are a lot of people sanctimonious about Myles Garrett doing that. And like at the end of the day, who was hurt? Nobody was hurt. You know, they play a violent game. I know it was after the whistle and after the game and everything else, but I don't care. We won the ball game, and I put that thing in the Hall of Fame.
You know what, Chris? We know what happened. They were getting their asses kicked, and then he started getting butthurt, and he got all mad, and he said something stupid. Yeah. I don't know what he said, and then Myles just had to tell him about himself. So that's definitely going into Hall of Fame, and I would pay $1 million for that helmet. Put it right on the top of my Christmas tree every year. Nice. Hallelujah. Thank you, Myles Garrett, for that wonderful moment in Cleveland sports. I love you, Myles Garrett. What about the misspelled Go Dog Pound sign? Is that in the Hall of Fame or a Hall of Shame?
Oh, that gave me so much material. That's got to be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. That's one of those, you just embrace it. You messed up, you embrace it. That's one of the pockmarks. We love the pockmarks that we've got. That's one of them, and it's a fantastic one. The G-Podon. I think that's fair. I can even spell it. Like I can spell that in my head.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it was versus the Jets. I think somebody should do that again at the Hall of Fame game.
There's something about the Jets, isn't there?
What is it about the Jets?
I mean, you go back. I tell the story, and I was telling it earlier about Bernie Kosar getting hit in that famous playoff game by Mark Gaston late. That was against the Jets, and that's what really pulled me even farther into Browns fandom, although I was destined to be because it's passed down in our family. And so whether I liked it or not, I was going to be a Browns fan. But that really solidified it for me. And then you had the game this last year, and it seems like there's always something a little weird with the Jets. And, you know, we had Eric Mangini, who was a Jets coach, then it was our coach. And there's always been some weird crossover with them. And it's just kind of strange that would happen at that game. But yeah, and of course, now you've got the Hall of Fame game. So you bring out the Jets and all that history once again. And we get to kick off the preseason this year, which is, I guess, kind of cool. I never watched the Hall of Fame game. Obviously, I'm going to watch it this year. So I don't know how big of a deal it is, but it seems like something of some significance.
I mean, it's really not a big deal at all, but for us it is because it's a reason for us to party. We got our man going into the Hall of Fame. We got the spotlight. Everyone's going to be looking at us. Cleveland, lights are on us. Let's go. We got to be there. You're going to be there, I'm sure. You guys are not going to be doing a podcast or anything?
Oh, we'll be doing something with it. You got Joe Thomas going in, and you got, more importantly, you've got Art Modell not going in. So I like both of those.
Hey, did you know I was going to do a podcast with Joe Thomas?
Who is? You are?
Me.
Very good. Very
good.
I
don't. I know. I just putting it out there.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to make it happen.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you just repeated it.
Throw it out in the world.
You just put it out in the atmosphere and didn't know it.
That's right.
What about Johnny Manziel's Billy Vegas costume? Are you putting that in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame?
That's gonna go in the Hall of Fame. Now, Johnny Manziel and I did a commercial together.
Stop.
Yeah, we did. It was for an insurance company. For a while there, he was pimping an insurance company. He'd read off tweets, and one of my tweets was one of the ones that he read, and he was very familiar with me, and he's got me blocked now too, which is great. I have an on again, off again relationship with Mr. Johnny Manziel, which is kind of funny, but yeah, I think that's probably the highlight of his career, in my opinion. So yeah, put that in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. I agree with you. What about LeBron James taking my town to South Beach speech? Is that going to Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame?
That's got to go in the Hall of Shame. That whole thing, just the way it was cooked up, the way it rolled out, none of that was well done. And I would like to forget that episode ever happened. We were talking, one of the things I put out on Twitter is worst Disney movies ever. And a lot of people were putting LeBron's Decision because, of course, that was ESPN, which is owned by Disney. So.
Good.
And I'm right there with those folks.
Yes. Yeah, me too. That is good. What about Baker Mayfield's progressive commercials? Are those going in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame?
I may be in the minority on this one. I never liked those commercials. I didn't think they were funny.
Even when he was good.
Even when he was that's a good point. Even when he was good, they were tolerable when he was good at every single commercial break. But even at his best, I really didn't dig those commercials. But they were once again good for fodder for Twitter later on. I use a lot of those scenes and stuff on Twitter, so I got to give him props for that. But no, I'd sell those. Those go in the Hall of Shame.
Hall of Shame. So I got one more for you. What about the 0-16 Browns parade? Are you putting that in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame?
Absolutely 100% goes in the Hall of Fame. The 0-16 parade gets dogged by some people, but we had almost 3,000 people there. We raised something like $70,000 over the 2 years for the Cleveland Food Bank, something insane like that. The Browns matched a lot of our donations, and that part of it turned out real well. Anybody who went down there, it actually ended up being kind of a cathartic party for everybody. And make no bones about it, it was also a protest. There was definitely that aspect to it about where the team was headed, what the Haslams were doing with the team at that point. Now, ultimately, did it make a big difference? No. But for that one Saturday, it was a time for us to kind of blow off steam. They had signs out there that were very anti-Haslam and anti what was going on with the Browns, and also a lot of pro-Browns, just, people showing their passion for this team, despite the fact we've had nothing to root for. Certainly up to that point, we finally got a playoff win thanks to Baker, but up until that point, we didn't have anything since '99. And I think it was very cathartic for the people that attended that thing. And, I think in the postscript on that, I think people really understood what it was about. Even a lot of the people who hated it when we were going through it and they were saying, hey, you're going to embarrass the city and everything else. A lot of those people said, oh, well, I didn't understand exactly what it was. And once you saw the whole production and that cold Saturday, I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
And that's okay. You were one of the smart ones, because it was literally at the time that thing went off, it was 0 degrees and it was a -16 wind chill. So it was actually 0-16, which was fantastic. I mean, you talk about poetry, right? You can't make this stuff up. I mean, we were doing a big zero around the stadium.
It is always like that.
I know, but the fact that it was 0-16, I mean, you had 0-16. I thought that was fantastic. So it was cold as hell. We rented a bus. So I was in a bus kind of going around, and you saw all the other buses, all the other floats, all these people who were at the Muni lot came out in their different vehicles. You had so much participation. It was fantastic. You had high schools came out with bands.
Really?
I mean, it was amazing. Yeah.
What year was this again?
So this would have been 2017. Yeah, 17 going into 18. It was right after we went 0-16, obviously. Yeah. The year before we went 1-15, which was an amazing Christmas Eve miracle.
Yes.
when we blocked the field goal and ended up winning. I was at that game, and I'd never been that as relieved after a Browns game as I was that day, because I thought, that's it. We're never going to have this parade. It all goes away. At that point, we donated all the money to the Cleveland Food Bank.
Yeah.
That was it. You had a bow around it. It was Christmas Eve. This is great. This is the way the story should end. And of course, the following year we go and lose them all.
Right. So you're done with parades then? You're like,
absolutely, until it's a championship parade, which will come. Can
I get a float in your parade? A Boujie Sports float?
Absolutely. Everybody can. If this happens, everybody can have a float.
No, I don't want a float then, and everybody can have a float then.
Well, yours would be the most.
You're getting a float. You get a float. You get a float. You get a float.
But yours
would be that. I wanted a special float. Never mind.
You'd win your own ribbon for being the most bougie there.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll take my ribbon.
There you go.
All right. You're doing really good. You're hanging in there with me. You have one more suitor. Are you prepared for this last one?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Are you ready? Okay. So suitor number 3, I based him on my guy, which I guess he could be your guy. We could share him, Bernie Kosar, because he's had 2 of the worst stories that has given, like I said, you your career, which is, him, the drive and the fumble. Which, let me tell you something, Chris. I rewatched this.
You rewatched?
Wow, I swear to God, both of them, like the drive and the fumble, just because I knew I was going to talk to you and I knew we were going to talk about this. And
yeah.
I wasn't a huge Browns fan back in that day. I was, I was playing with Barbies and stuff like that. I became
bougie.
Yeah. So it wasn't really that. And I liked the 49ers then, because I was from Youngstown and DeBartlows, and I was a front runner. So I wasn't really into it.
DeBartlows. There were a lot of Niners jackets. I remember those gold. Remember
gold
like
the
jacket?
The red.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there were a lot of those.
Yes, I had one of those. Walking to the bus stop.
I remember those distinctly, and at that time I didn't understand that whole connection. So I was like, "What is with all these Niners?" Like, you would have Browns fans, you'd have a few Steelers fans, and then you'd have Niners fans when you go to games. And I'd be like, "Why are there Niners fans at this?"
Right? Oh yeah, you don't even want to get started with Youngstown Steelers fans. But anyways, that's another show. We are on this one, and we are about to play our last and final game. Which I'm so excited about this one.
Bernie Kosar,
the drive, the fumble. Wow, the heartbreak. It sucks. Like, it's really, really sad when you think about it, being a Cleveland Browns fan. And when you go back and you rewatch it, you're like, holy cow. Like, I swear, I had a tear that just like went so slowly down when I rewatched that, because it was absolutely heartbreaking. Not the drive, but the drive was, but then on top of it, the fumble. It was just so sad. And I just put myself there because it's easy to, because I kind of know how it feels like. And damn, it sucks being a Cleveland Browns fan, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. And you watch, and I'm sure you probably watched it. Did you watch Believe Land when that came out several years ago? Yeah. And, there's a couple of points in that where I almost in the same way, where I've almost got a tear running down my face. Yeah. After Brian Brennan makes that long catch, you're just like, we're destined to win. This is going to happen. And then it gets yanked away from you. And it's just those moments. And they just, that's a part of who you are. That's why we're tough people, in Northeast Ohio, you're going to be tough people, because we're put through hell from all our sports teams, and especially the Browns. And boy, did that lay the foundation for my life.
Tell me about it. It's everything. It's in everything who we are. It is. And I think for me, being from Youngstown, it's really hard because we're right in between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So it's really easy to go the other way. And so I was stuck with most of my life, 80% of the people liking the Steelers. But keep in mind, they like the Indians. They like Ohio State. They like the Cavs. We still friendly on that day. But, on Sundays, it was like, you're the loser. Ha, ha, ha. Here we go, Steelers. It sucks. It sucked in Youngstown as a Cleveland Browns fan. But guess what? The times are changing, baby. Because Kenny Pickett is not Deshaun Watson. Yes, I said it. Anyways, what do you think?
No, I agree. I think Kenny Pickett in his small hands, I think he'll get exposed. Hopefully, and I'm really hoping Deshaun Watson gets it back on track. And that one, I know he's obviously better than Kenny Pickett, and I think one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I was really disheartened by what I saw last year. I expected it too, by the way. I was one of the few people, I think, that was saying, hey, when he gets back in there, everybody's just expecting him to flip a switch. It doesn't happen like that. I don't think it will for him. And we'll see what happens this season, but I go in very hesitantly. It's not one of those where you're, walking into a Cavs season with LeBron. We just know, hey, we've got LeBron. It's one of those where it's like, okay, he's got a lot of work to do, and hopefully he can show up on Sundays. And always the optimist is the Cleveland fan in me, and
hey,
hopefully he'll come around, because he was making mental errors, he was making overthrows that were just driving me nuts, and he's got to clean all that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had to be a little bit rusty, but I think when you're that good, it has to come back. We have no other choice but to believe that. If we think that anything else will drive ourselves crazy, just like the Nick Chubb.
That's just it. You have nowhere else to go. I mean, we've boxed ourselves in now, so we are ride or die with Deshaun Watson. So hopefully it's ride.
It's ride, baby.
That's right.
It can't be die. We can't have another season of dying.
We've died a million deaths. I don't need one more.
We've died a million deaths. Yeah, exactly. Only a cat has 9 lives. We have more than 9 lives. Well, right. Anyways, this is a game that I've been waiting to play with you, which I left my last card, but that's okay because I wrote it on twice. And it's our third game talking about Bernie Kosar, which has nothing to do with him, but I just to go to my 3 games. So I'm sure you've played this game before. FMK. I'm going to give you 3 names. You have to pick somebody. We're going to call it bang, marry, kill. You have to pick who you would bang, obviously, for the audience who doesn't know. And we're going to say bang. Let's associate with bang with something you can't get enough of, something you have to have over and over again. Okay. Something you would marry and something you would kill.
Okay.
Or someone or something, which I had more on a card, but you might lack out. All right. So let's go right off the bat with Browns, Cavs, Guardians, FMK.
Well, I'm married to the Browns. It's been a long, tough journey. It's had our ups and downs, but here we are. So definitely marry the Browns. Okay. What were the other 2? I know there's bang, but probably be with the Cavs, because the Cavs are so high
and
energy.
Kill the Guardians.
High energy, young. Oh yeah, Kill's the other one. I forgot the Kill's the other one. I mean, I hate doing that to the guards.
I'm so fidgety. I have to learn how to stop fidgeting.
I guess I will. I guess I'll kill the guards. And
you're killing the Guardians, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, come on, let's be fair.
He has just killed the Guardians.
Have you seen the attendance? Have you seen the attendance lately? Okay. I think most people have killed the Guardians, unfortunately. I went to more than my share of Guardians games, including a playoff game last year. I support the Guardians. I think a lot of other people should probably support the Guardians, because they're one of the organizations that I think has actually run fairly well. I know everybody likes to call the ownership cheap, and I understand where that comes from, but the production on the field, you cannot really, argue with. You're making the playoffs. You're making the most of what we got. And hell, we'll see what happens with Josh Bell this year. We finally got a little bit of a bat there, and young squad. We'll see what happens. But yeah, having said all that, I just killed him. So.
And by the way, bang, bang.
Oh, that's right. They're gone.
I'm so excited about the Guardians this year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going. I'm going to go to the home opener. Like, I've never had tickets, like I said, but I'm just going to go there and drink and have fun.
Let me tell you one thing about openers. Overrated. It's cold. It's crappy. Yes. You have it in your mind that it's like the beginning of spring. You're going to go out there. It's going to be sunny, 85 degrees, bust out the short sleeves and the shorts. This is it. But every time I went a few years ago, we were playing, I think it was the Orioles. It was the one that got rained out. And I'll never forget it because it was raining all day. I bring the kids all the way up to the stadium. We're standing out front. They've got the bands, playing inside and everything else. I'm like, I guess they're going to play this game. It's kind of been raining all day. I guess they're not going to cancel it now. Everybody's here. They open up the gates and then they closed them. And they said the game was off. I looked down at my daughter and she was crying. And at that moment, I decided never again, never
No.
do an opening game again.
How many
Never do
kids
an
do you
opening.
have, Chris?
I've got 3 kids.
Oh, yeah, I'm just like imagining it with one, and it's a no.
It was just me and the 3 kids too.
Yeah.
It was just us 4. I'd taken them out of school. I planned this thing out. I was so excited. You have it built up in your mind of how great this is gonna be. Opening day, it's gonna be memories. We're gonna be talking about this for years. And that day, I don't know, the Guardians don't handle rainouts very well because that thing should have been canceled hours beforehand. They should have never got to that point. And I don't know, and if you're in the stadium when it's a rain delay, they never give you updates. So, not to be old man here, but it really drives me nuts.
Okay, you're going to curb your enthusiasm.
It grinds my gears the way that the Guardians handle rain delays.
Okay, Larry David, are you done on your rant?
I'm done.
I'm done. Right. Okay, awesome. Let's go for another FMK. This is a good one. Charlie Fry, Brandon Weeden, or Colt McCoy?
Oh, jeez. Brandon Weeden, Colt McCoy, and who is the third?
Charlie Fry.
Oh, Fry. Yeah, Fry, local guy from Akron. Oh gosh, Colt McCoy, he's just so cute. He's stuck around the league.
Kill him!
Do you remember the wedding video with Colt McCoy?
Mm-mm.
You'll have to look that one up.
It's his wedding video?
It's his wedding video. And one of the wide receivers who played for the Bengals sings, oh man, and I can't remember his name now. But it's great. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. But Colt McCoy, I will F Colt McCoy.
Because he's so cute.
Charlie Fry. I'll marry Charlie Fry, local guy. I like to stay. I'm loyal to the locals. And then Brandon Weeden, Mr. is stuck under the flag. He's dead.
You're gone, Brandon Weeden. Okay, Joe Thomas, Jim Thome, or Bernie Kosar. And Bernie Kosar.
Oh, man.
I know.
Wow. Okay. Now we're talking. This is a tough one. Joe Thomas, Bernie Kosar, and Jim Thome.
Yes.
So
you have to kill one of them. One of them's gone.
Well, I'm going to marry Bernie Kosar.
Okay.
I'll do the marry with Bernie Kosar. Joe Thomas. Gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I guess F Joe Thomas, and then I'm gonna have to kill Jim Thome, my favorite player.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, and here's my defense, right?
Yeah.
Of making that choice. Bernie Kosar only left Cleveland because of Bill Belichick. He would have stayed forever. Joe Thomas stayed his whole career in Cleveland, and Jim Thome left town. So there's the distinction. That's why Jim, sorry, man.
I mean, you had to pick.
His wife, The Rock, told him he needed to move on, and he moved on and went for the money and then moved all around the league, came back to us for a little while, but sorry, Jim Thome.
I don't know why I wrote this, because I wrote Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, or Donna Kelce. But don't answer that.
I'm not going to answer the Kelces.
Don't do that.
I wish we'd have one of them on our team. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd
wow.
Nice.
I don't know what I was thinking.
You do such a great job of repping Cleveland Heights, and everything else. I think
God, and their podcast is so funny. I watched it, and I didn't see SNL. Did you see SNL with him on it?
I did
so
not.
many things to watch. I gotta go. Chris Rock theme, SNL thing.
No.
All right, who do you hate the most in sports? Like, whose face do you hate the most?
Right now, James Harden. I cannot stand James Harden. I just think that he is the most chicken shit type of player. He really is. I mean, everything that he does is just chicken bleep. It just drives me nuts. From offensively, defensively, it doesn't matter. Every single rule he pushes to the absolute edge, and that just grinds on me. So James Harden's the answer there.
So if I put James Harden in with my most hated player is Aaron Rodgers. I freaking hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate him and his stupid 3 day. I gotta take a break for 3 days and think about things. And I just keep seeing him.
Yeah, he's a douchey guy. I
Yeah, he
agree with
just
you. I
is.
can definitely see that.
Yeah.
He hasn't caused me like any direct pain. I know we've played them before and played them on Christmas and they beat us and everything else, but not really direct pain. Whereas James Harden, he's caused me direct pain as a Cavs fan. So,
Yeah.
but I could definitely see that. I see where you're coming from on
What about Brett Favre? Are you a fan of him, or is he like on the hate list?
No, he was one of the early switchovers. I mean, that's what's so funny about Aaron Rodgers. He's just taking that same script, going, "Hey, let me do what you did." You
Yeah.
know, I mean, basically Brett Favre going to the Jets, which it looks like Aaron Rodgers may go to the Jets. We'll see.
I know.
We'll see if Aaron Rodgers then ends up on the Vikings throwing a pathetic pass at the end of his career to end it for an interception. But the way Brett Favre did. But yeah, Brett Favre turned coach so hard, and now the stuff that he's doing. I mean, allegedly, and I need to say allegedly so he doesn't fire,
Yes.
it doesn't come after me. Allegedly with welfare fraud. That's bad news, man.
Ugh.
He's stealing from the public now. I mean, he's in retirement gotten worse, and I didn't think that was possible. But yeah, not a big Brett Favre fan.
So they're my three for you because Aaron Rodgers, James Harden, and Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
FMK.
Oh, geez. Oh. Okay. Can I just kill all three?
Okay, I'll give you one mulligan, okay? That one's really hard because I can't stand all of them. What about Tiger Woods, Hulk Hogan, or Tony Hawk?
Okay, so I'm not a big Tiger Woods fan
So
because I met Tiger Woods back in '96.
Do tell. Wait, was he douchey?
He was. So you mentioned before I was a pretty good golfer and I had won state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also mentioned that I met Jack Nicklaus. I met him at Muirfield Village down here in Columbus. And I was going to meet Jack that day. You know, here I am like a 17-year-old kid or whatever, pimply-faced kid. And I'm inside the ropes. And they're about to do something at the driving range, or like where they bring out the pros and basically have them hit shots, right? A little clinic that they put on for everybody in the stands. And right before that starts, they give out these scholarships from Columbus Dispatch, from the local paper down here, to like 3 or 4 players from the area. And I was one of those players. So I'm standing there inside the ropes, kind of nobody's around me. At that time, Tiger Woods had not yet won the Masters. So he was Tiger Woods, but he was Tiger
it Sunday? Was he wearing a red shirt?
It wasn't. No, it was like a Wednesday. This is a practice round.
Okay.
And he walks up and I'm all by myself and there's nobody around me. And he walks right up and nearly hits me. And I said, "Hey, Tiger, good luck," or something along those lines. He didn't even look up and he just walked right past.
Ew.
And I was like, I understand you just came out of a crowd of people.
You were a 17-year-old pimply little kid and he couldn't even give you a what's up?
Exactly. That's all he had to do.
Like a head nod or just like this.
And from that moment, I was like, screw you. I'm going to meet the best golfer ever in Jack Nicklaus. And screw you if you can't even give me a quick head nod. Now, what's funny is his caddy, who was Fluff at the time, who was a kind of a world famous caddy, was friends with my golf coach. So I ended up talking to Fluff for a while, who was on his bag, which I think is kind of funny in that Tiger was such a jerk to me. And then his caddy was so great. But yeah, so Tiger and I have a little bit of a history, and I'm not a big fan of Tigers.
Screw you, Tiger.
Right. So kill him. So
Tiger's gone.
Tiger's gone.
Hulk Hogan.
He's gross. I'm not a Hulk Hogan
fan. I love that. Not a wrestling fan?
No, I'm not a wrestling fan. I mean, I'm an admirer of wrestling, but I never really got into it past there was a bit there in the 90s where I had a friend who was big into wrestling. So we'd watch wrestling together. So that's where I learned about The Undertaker. And The Undertaker's basically, what did he retire 2 years ago or a year ago? So it's amazing the staying power for some of these guys. But yeah. So, but Hulk Hogan's kind of gross. That whole Bubba the Love Sponge stuff. That whole thing.
We're talking about Hulk Hogan in the 80s. I never met Hulk Hogan, but I did meet his daughter, Brooke Hogan. We were in the back of the limo together with guess who else? Aaron Carter, Nick Carter's younger brother, who's no longer with us. Rest in peace.
Oh, wow. Now, what put you in that position? Why were you doing this bougie thing?
Chris, I could write a book of weird things that have happened to me. I told you I used to work at Disney World. I lived in Florida for a little bit. And I used to work for Lou Pearlman, who did put together the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Nice.
So, and he's like in jail because he's a horrible person.
Okay.
He ended up being like a pervert,
Oh.
But
anyways.
oh, it was like a big scammer. Like we would ask people to, I didn't know it was a scam at that point to come to Orlando for a modeling contract. Anyways, we were
nice. So you were involved in this scam, huh?
No, I wasn't. Don't put that out there. I would never do. I would never do that. So did you have fun tonight on our show?
I did. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was far-reaching. We touched on a lot of subjects. Hopefully, you got a lot of material out of this. So I think it was.
I had to stop. I had so many. Look at how many more stuff I had. I didn't expect us to go already. It's so long. It's almost an hour and a half.
Producer extraordinaire.
I love that. That's my favorite part of doing things. It's like writing
it out, putting it all together. You did a fantastic job. I didn't know what was coming next. You hit on the 90s a lot, which was great. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So
awesome. I'm excited. I'm so happy that I got a chance to meet you. I've never met you before. This is the first time that we got to meet, which is like, I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's like Twitter, but.
That's right. We're contemporaries in the Twitter world, in the Twitterverse.
Yes. Well, we do have some things in common where we're both kind of more like fans and kind of try to do our own thing as fans. And it's a little harder, for me, I'll say for me, it's a little bit harder to try to break into this industry. I'm a nurse. This is not really something that I do. I didn't go to school for broadcasting. I've never done anything like this before. It's just a passion and the love. So I appreciate everybody that's watching me and supporting me. And bearing with me, like learning to go through this process. And like you, thank you so much for coming on the show. And as someone that's brand new out the gate and you're so established, and kudos to you for everything that you've done. You've only done really one bad thing, and we've only gotten to one fight, and we'll keep that between you and I.
There you go. Well, fantastic. Thank you. And everybody check out the Big Play Reflog show Monday nights at 9. Also the Bernie Kosar show with Hanford Dixon. Those also go out on Mondays. And then we've actually got a new show that's coming out. It's going to have Rafa from the Cavs. He's the Spanish language Cavs announcer, along with Boujie Gibson. It's going to be called Boujie's World. So be looking for that one.
But I'm 100% Puerto Rican, so I'm all about that.
So you love Rafi. Rafi's fantastic.
Yes. That's Olympic Indians. Oh, there's a lot of Puerto Rican baseball players. So
of course. Yeah. Yeah, and Rafi's so fantastic.
When is that starting?
Don't know yet. It's kind of in the works, but we've already got all the graphics and everything else. So it'll probably be here in the next couple of weeks.
Can you tell Bernie Kosar I said hi?
I will.
Tell him it's Yvette.
I'll even get the name right.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Will he know who Yvette from Youngstown, Ohio is?
No,
okay.
But
he will after I say something, of course.
Well, then you'll say it once, and then like, how many Yvettes are there? You know what I mean? And like, as
Youngstown, Ohio, I bet there's one.
Exactly. And then maybe he'll be like, "Oh, Yvette from Youngstown. I remember."
If we still had phone books, you would be the only one.
True that. I used to love the phone book. The new phone books are here. Do you know what that movie's from?
No, I don't.
The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. That's one of my favorite.
All those cans. Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming. I don't want to leave you here on forever, but I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you again, or maybe do something else as the season continues. I'm sure we'll have a lot more opportunities as the Browns will continue to give that to us.
Sounds good. Yvette, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Big Play YouTube channel. Mondays, 9 o'clock. I have to start watching the show to learning. I don't know what a parlay and any of that crap means. You know that?
Yeah, you got to learn. I
know.
By the way, everyone, go on Tipico Sportsbook. Check them out. Gambling is now legal in Ohio.
Yeah.
Tipico is your go-to spot. So you can find that. Go to tipico.com, or you can go to my Twitter account and just click on our link there and check them out.
I should probably go there and click and make my first bet. I'm kind of nervous.
Put in code Big Play.
I don't want to do it. I want to, but I don't want to like. I can go
free bets. They'll give you some free bets up.
I know that's how they say. Oh yeah, free money. It always starts like that, but the house always wins.
That's true. Did you see all the stats that came out like last week?
Mm-mm.
So Ohio, and I forget what the ultimate number was, but Ohio was second only behind New York in amount of money bet on these books, on the
Doesn't
the
surprise
apps
me.
and all these sports books. And Ohio though had like a 20% take rate, which was much, or what was it, 20% loss rate. No. The books took home 20% from people in Ohio, which is much higher than what they take home from like Las Vegas. Is like less than 10%. So that means we're very, very bad at betting in Ohio. We bet a lot of money. Yeah. Is ultimately what it is. Yeah. So everybody's got to go out there and practice. Check out Tipico. Gambling
Go ahead and
problem,
lose your money on Tipico.
That's right.
I'm
21
right.
and over only. If you have a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
There you have it. That's what I'm scared about. That's why I don't want to do it. I'm not scared of having a gambling problem. I'm scared of having another reason to be in a bad mood on Sundays. Like I do fantasy football and that already gets on my nerves. Like, you get mad about that. Then you're a Browns fan, so you're already pissed off. So I'm going to be bad about losing money on top of that. Like, why am I going to do that to myself?
You can go oppo on it and go against your teams, and then you win either way. Now, some would say you lose either way, but I am an optimist, and I see you win either way if you do that.
All right. Well, I'll start watching your show then and learn. Do you guys teach us how to bet? Teach me how to bet.
We do. That's one of our segments where we go through the bets and we try and kind of work in some of the parlays, some of the nuances, some of the.
I'm just so out of it. Everyone's like parlay. And every time I think of parlay, I think of like what's that? The Monty Python.
It's just a bougie way to say multiple bets. That's all.
I don't understand. Like I'm like, oh, parlay what? Or like, isn't that like Pirates of the Caribbean? Or I don't know. Parlay. I don't get it.
All the more reason for you to tune in Monday night.
All right, that's it. You know what? You're gonna see me on the streets with I am a homeless sign because I'm gonna start betting. No, actually, you won't. But all right. Well, thank you again so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Go
Thanks.
Browns. Bye. Now I have to figure out how to end this.